In South Africa, stigmas and taboos around menstruation leads to many girls not receiving information about puberty and often being unprepared for when they have their first period. Now, to shed more light on this increasing issue, we have Cassie Jaganyi, Procter Gamble Communications Lead, who joins us now to discuss the Always Keeping Girls in School program, which provides young schoolgirls from disadvantaged backgrounds with information they need, free sanitary towels, educational resources, and motivational talks aimed at keeping them in school. Good morning, Cassie.
Good morning, Zoe. Thank you so much for having me.
Cassie, great to connect with you. So many boxes being ticked already. Just in that intro, getting the scene set for why you guys are doing this, it really is a massive motivator for us to get on board. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to start with one statistic that is rather alarming. 3 in 10 girls end up missing school at least once a month due to their period, which results then obviously in them missing out on education, a fundamental. Why is it so important to create an awareness around statistics like this, particularly when it comes to the Always Keeping Girls in School program?
Thank you so much, Graham. That's a really great question. So with regards to awareness, there's 2 key parts to this, right? So the first is awareness leads to action. Okay, if you don't know that there's a problem, there's nothing that we can do about that problem, right? So as you said, that statistic is incredibly alarming. 3 out of 10 girls miss school once a month due to their period, and their missing school is about 4 to 7 days each month that they are missing out on an opportunity for education, for sport, and of course for socializing. What we're seeing is that girls today themselves don't even know that they're about to start their period. And this in itself is a big problem because it results in it's quite frightening and it's quite scary, but it also results in a little bit of a, what do I do now? What happens next? And am I comfortable enough to ask a grown-up about it? So creating awareness is really, really important around this issue.
And creating awareness is super important, as you mentioned, because I remember when I was getting my first period, they did do a little talk at school and it was very informative and we were very, interested in what's happening to our bodies. But as we celebrate Menstrual Hygiene Day, why is it so essential for Always to educate girls, especially from disadvantaged backgrounds, that they do not need to associate shame or stigmas or any of the taboos that comes with it when you have your period?
Absolutely. This is such a big thing. And, Zoe, it's great that you shared that story. Through this program, I actually met a girl who, when she started her period as well, she had no idea what was going on and she actually thought she was dying. Okay, so this is why this education thing is so incredibly important, especially for those girls in our disadvantaged areas. They often don't know what a period is, what's happening, when it's going to happen, and then ultimately what they should do about it. And those girls that are confident enough to, put up their hand and ask a question are then dealt information that their mothers used, that their grandmothers used, that their great-grandmothers used, and often these solutions are not actually very hygienic. So this education piece is incredibly important because it's about educating the young girls about what's going to happen, okay, that it's perfectly okay, and that there's nothing to be worried or ashamed about, and there's nothing to, lose confidence over. So it should be a normal thing, and this is really what we're trying to do and instill this kind of thinking in girls across South Africa.
It's crazy to me that the conversation is still taboo. The fact that we are dealing with something that every woman, every girl is going to experience once a month throughout her entire life is still something that we're uncomfortable talking about. Certainly from a guy's perspective and a father who has a daughter and is going to have to be able to get on that train. That's why I love the fact that you're making this a conversation that's happening on a number of levels. And the Always Keeping Girls in School program has very importantly made sanitary products more accessible to girls across South Africa. Why was that such a key point for you?
Today, girls not only don't know what's happening in their bodies, but then they don't have access to these sanitary products so that they can adequately take care of their period each month, right? And so this is why, and this is where the Always Keeping Girls in School program started, right? It ties very closely to our Always brand. And we at P&G are so passionate about making sure that nothing gets in the way of a child's education, especially not her period. And this is why we have provided access to not only pads, but also to puberty education to girls around South Africa to make sure that this isn't a problem in their everyday.
Well, Cassie, it still boggles my mind that girls don't have free access to sanitary pads and, you know, the necessities that they need every single month. I remember when it was my time to start, I was experimenting with the products just to see how it works, how it's going to work and figuring it out. And I understand there's a lot of girls that don't have access to that. But I know that through this incredible program over the last 5 years, you have provided over 7 million pads to girls across South Africa. Now, the big question is, how many pads are you aiming to donate this year and for the future for the girls to come?
Our Always Keeping Girls in School program is not going anywhere. So this year, we're really excited to announce that we'll be donating a further 2.4 million pads to girls across South Africa. We're working to reach 50,000 girls this year. We're working very closely with an organization called Footprints Foundation, and they're helping us bring this to life. So this is our goal for this year, and always trying to push and exceed it.
And I love that. Break it down to the numbers so you can actually weigh it up. You can see the progress that you're making. Most important question out of all of these, how can the public get involved and support your efforts, from the conversations that can perhaps be had at home with young girls to those sanitary product donations? What do you need from us?
What I would do and what I would encourage members of the public to do is to have conversations with the people in your world. And the more we talk about it, the less taboo it becomes, right? And the less shame people are going to feel about it. And the more bold girls are going to feel to put up their hand and ask a question if there's something that they don't understand.
Thank you, Cassie. A good mate of mine who is a very proud advocate in this space once said, I bet you if men bled once a month, sanitary products would be free. It is a gender-based issue, and it's something that we need to address, and you guys are certainly leading the front. So thank you so much for your efforts.
Thank you so much, Graham. Thank you so much, Zoe, for having me.
Oh, there we go. That was Cassie. And of course, as we talk about Menstrual Hygiene Day. Now, menstruation-related issues, as Graham mentioned, it is a gender-based barrier to girls' education. And there are many reasons that children may miss school, but having a period should not be one of them. Join Always' mission to help keep girls in school by continuing to raise awareness of these barriers and supporting their commitment to gender equality, building a world where everyone sees equal.